What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Aaron V, and welcome to Tacos and Touchdown Live. And it is a great Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. And I got a special guest for y'all. I know you changed the name of the show, so it's that New York Jets guy. My guy Pete, how's it going?
Good, Aaron. Good, man. It's been a long time coming since the last time I've been on the show, and happy to do it for you, man. You're always one of my favorite guys to tune into, and you're always such a good dude. So whenever you come calling, I always got to make sure I answer, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. That means a lot. And I kind of switched on you with the little music and stuff. I see
Dude, that's always like one of my favorite intros of any show, dude. The tacos and touchdown intro is very catchy, dude. I find myself always bopping to that every time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you again. Let's get into our first question. It's Super Bowl week, so what is going to be on the meal for the Super Bowl game?
You know how we do it in New York, dude. I mean, I would like to say tacos because it's tacos and touchdowns, but we're a big hero city, so
Oh, okay.
we're probably going with the Italian sub, the 3-foot Italian sub, maybe the American. So a lot of cold cuts, a lot of sodium. You know how it is. A lot of chicken wings. So I'm super excited. I'm trying to fast as much as I possibly can this week because I know that I'm just going to gain all that weight back on Sunday. So. How about you? What's on the menu for Sunday for you guys?
So I know me and my fiance are gonna do like sliders, and I think we're doing chicken wings, and then we're gonna have a couple of those Cayman Jacks, those little margarita things. So
nice, man.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, trying to figure out where we're gonna get the wings at. Probably Wingstop or somewhere, or don't want to do home. Don't want to do home.
Never a bad option. Wingstop is never a bad option, dude.
Absolutely. I'm over here talking like they're one of the sponsors, but if y'all want to sponsor both of us, we would greatly appreciate it.
I'm down, man. Yeah. I'll eat wings live on air if it means I can get a sponsorship.
Yeah, I would have a big old poster of Wingstop right there. I'll move the cowboy poster if y'all want. So
I don't know how many people would want to see that personally, but like I wouldn't mind doing it. Whatever you got.
Hey, there's people that be watching that stuff on TikTok. What's those mukbang, whatever those called?
Yeah, that like ASMR. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're right.
Yeah, not a fan of those, but I know there's people out there that like them. But so we can get into some Jets talk and stuff. So there's been a lot going on with the Jets, of course, during this off season. But the Jets finished 5-12, and the raising question: what was the issue was going on? Was it coaches, general managers, players? Or could you even say Aaron Rodgers was the culprit of what happened this year?
Man, it's just really everything that you named had a little piece of the pie involved. You're looking at even from early season dysfunction. You're looking at firing Robert Saleh after 5 games. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I never thought that he was really a great head coach. I thought he was more like trying to be the players' friends more than holding people accountable because the discipline on the team was just always lacking throughout his tenure. Discipline, coaching, the owner getting too involved, the play calling. I mean, you name it, honestly, it had a hand in how bad the Jets were this year. I would say, of course, because Aaron Rodgers is the starting quarterback and he played every single game, I would say that he definitely has a hand in the blame. But from people and media that are outside of New York that didn't watch every Jet game, I would say he gets a little bit too much hate. I think is he the same Aaron Rodgers as he was in the past? MVP caliber Aaron Rodgers? No, definitely not. But he's still providing you I'd say probably top 15 or top 18 quarterback play. And for us Jets fans, I mean, he put in, even though they went 5-12, he put in probably the second best statistical season a quarterback has ever put in. So, he absolutely deserves some of the blame, but I wouldn't put the sole blame on him. It's just a multitude of issues that hopefully with this new coaching staff and hopefully maybe this new regime and Woody Johnson kind of taking a little bit of a step back, maybe these can be resolved, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the best thing. Coming from a hands-on owner, you definitely want your owner just to kind of just do this and let everybody else do their job. But, when you got owners like that, they always want to put their hand on everything. And like they never played in NFL or been a scout, but they apparently they're the guy that knows everything.
I
But
feel bad for you, man. You got an owner that's also the general manager of your team too. It's not an easy thing to do. And he's like 82 years old. It's just a bad situation for you guys over there.
Yeah, he basically played college football with the single bar helmet, and he thinks he knows what's going on in the current football. And I'm not even making a joke. So if y'all want to look up a picture, it's probably on there. But how we were talking about. But when it comes to y'all got a new coach with Aaron Glenn, what was your initial thoughts when he got hired, and what do you think about the staff he's assembled?
Man, it's twofold for me because Aaron Glenn hire, man, I was super excited, super pumped up. That's who, besides for maybe a Brian Flores or even a Mike Vrabel, Aaron Glenn was right there for me. The Jets are an organization right now that are have always been in turmoil, but more recently than normal, they're in turmoil. There's a lot of roster turnover. They need a leader of men. And you could just tell that Aaron Glenn coming in from day one, he is a leader of men. He brings an accountable vibe to him. He is going to hold you accountable. He's going to call you out if you do something wrong. And that's exactly what the Jets need. They need structure. They need accountability. They need discipline. I was super excited about it. Darren Mogi, again, another one as well. If you look at the past 4 draft classes that he's been a part of with Denver, I know he's not making the picks, but that's been 4 pretty good draft classes. You think of guys right off the top of your head, Bo Nix last year, Quinn Miners, who was a 3rd round pick out of a Division III college, who has been an all pro as well. You know, he's been a part of some really, really good picks, Nick Benito as well. So that's encouraging as well for an organization that doesn't draft well, like the New York Jets. It's nice to see someone in there that has a little bit of a background of, you know, making some good picks in the middle rounds as well. I will be honest with you. I was a fan of the Steve Wilks hire as a defensive coordinator. I like Chris Banjo as a special teams coordinator as well. Some of the other hires have left a lot to be desired for me, to be quite honest with you. I'm a little underwhelmed. I actually have it here. Tanner Engstrom actually was, you know, I didn't mind it after, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I can't think of it, but I think the passing game coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams denied the chance to become the Jets offensive coordinator. And I feel like Engstrom was really like the second choice. But at the same time, he comes from such an awesome offense. He learned under Ben Johnson last year. So that's an encouraging sign. Charles London getting hired as the quarterback's coach, considering that he's had the same position for 3 different teams over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm not really too excited about that. Aaron Curry being hired as the linebacking coach and Eric Washington as the defensive line. I like those 2 hires a lot as well. But I feel like the offensive hires leave a lot to be desired, but you can't really expect too much from a defensive minded coach like Aaron Glenn, I feel like. So I'm going into it optimistically. You know how we are. I'm sure it's the same way with you as well. Whenever you get, you know, a new regime, you're going to say, oh, I hope they hire this guy. And then they don't. And you're like, all right, well, let's give this guy a shot. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to stay positive. These aren't my first choice guys, but I could definitely get behind them. So the Aaron Glenn hire was a smash home run, 100%. I was fully behind it. And I love everything that he's brought to the attitude that he's brought in his short time so far.
Yeah, he does seem like when he got introduced to the Jets, you can see he had that energy and stuff, and he has that no nonsense with a little bit of player coach in him because he's a former player and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you seen he could be definitely a leader of men, especially in interviews. Do you ever catch yourself like when they hire a new coach? You ever get on YouTube or something like look at mic'd up of like how the coaches are around players or something like that? Or that just me?
No, I do too. And then if the coach was a former player, I automatically go right to YouTube and I look at their highlights too to get myself even more hyped up. So Aaron Glenn being a former 3-time Pro Bowler, you know, he's got some good highlights in there too. So, you know, just to add a little bit more hype to it. So yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on that. I always get fully, and they were on Hard Knocks too. So, you know, you get a bunch of sound bites from Aaron Glenn too that get you very, very excited.
Yeah, that's very true. Like when you hear they got a new hire and you found out they're a former player, you're like, okay, I need to watch their highlights when they were playing, and let me see if they got a mic'd up to see what type of energy they have when they're around the players. Are they just kind of there? Because there's some coaches out there in the NFL that are just they're super smart, but they don't really have that personality to
100%.
kind of bring it out. I'm not going to call out any coaches out there like that because they're in a higher level that I wish, but getting into you're big into the draft and everything, and I love the draft as well. What are like the key areas you think the Jets need to look at in this draft?
I think maybe the first couple areas come with an asterisk next to it because it all really depends on what happens with Aaron Rodgers because it's twofold. So if Aaron Rodgers leaves, then you figure Davante Adams is going to leave too. So that not only leaves you with a massive hole at quarterback, but it leaves you with a massive hole at wide receiver too. But to be honest with you, the way that things have been progressing, it looks like Aaron Glenn is kind of keen on keeping Aaron Rodgers, and I'm okay with that. I kind of lean on the fence with Aaron Rodgers. If he wants to go, I support him. If he wants to stay, I support that too. Because right now, looking at free agency and looking at the quarterback class, Aaron Rodgers is your best option going forward, at least for the next year. So why not run with your best option? That's just my opinion. I know a lot of Jets fans have differing opinions on that. But so if Aaron Rodgers was to leave, I'd say quarterback, wide receiver are automatically your first two main areas that you need to improve. Going into more of the roster, what I think needs to be improved if Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams stay, immediately defensive line. Defensive tackle is, besides for Quinnen Williams, it was a disaster of a positional group this past year. Javon Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, Leonard Taylor. I like Leonard Taylor a lot as an undrafted free agent. Probably the only other defensive tackle I'd keep on the roster other than Quinnen Williams is Leonard Taylor. Everyone else was an absolute disaster. That positional group needs to be completely overhauled. Safety, the Jets have literally no safeties under contract going into this next season. Massive hole there as well. And then right tackle. Right tackle, I would say if I had to name three, besides for quarterback and wide receiver, it would be those three: defensive tackle, safety, and right tackle for sure, because the Jets' offensive line struggles really came from the right tackle position. Because once Olu Fashanu anchored down that left side, then they had Olu Fashanu, John Simpson, Elijah Vera Tucker, Joe Tippmann, John Simpson, and then there was just a constant hole at right tackle when Morgan Moses was hurt. And Morgan Moses is a one-year stopgap. So, they need to find a right tackle of future. And then, you got something going with a formidable five. But I would say that those three positional groups definitely need a massive overhaul for the Jets in the draft.
Yeah, I know that was the biggest thing when it came to the Jets for these past few years is trying to solidify that offensive line. I know y'all, before y'all got Fashanu, y'all had Becton. No. I was a bit iffy on them, skeptical about him. The weight problem was my biggest thing about him and everything. I was like, maybe he's better off on the right side, or maybe I'm wrong, but I just didn't see him as a left tackle.
Now he's like the biggest guard in the NFL, and he's doing really, really well. So good. I mean, good on him. Mekhi Becton, I got no qualms with the guy. The only thing that always plays over and over in my head was that the Jets took Mekhi Becton over Tristan Wirfs. That's the only thing that keeps playing over and over in my head. If you were going to make an offensive line choice, should have went with the guy that has literally been the only player in NFL history that has made an all-pro team at left tackle and right tackle.
Yeah, and especially when you think of Iowa offensive lineman, you go that's just a given. Like majority, if it's in the trenches or a linebacker, and in the DBs, you can't go wrong with an Iowa guy. I'm like,
yeah, well, we certainly did.
Yeah, I wish we had Tristan Wirfs right now. Nothing against Guyton, but I think he still got a little bit. But
yeah,
but I have a draft scenario, and then we're gonna go into a little mock draft. But okay, you're at the 7th overall pick. The best available players are Ted McMillan, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, and Kelvin Banks. Who are you choosing and why?
Man, I know it goes up against everything that I just said. But if Abdul Carter is on the board at number 7, I'm personally leaving my couch and I'm running that card up to Roger Goodell. That Abdul Carter, for me, far and away the best player in the entire draft class. I don't think it's remotely close. And this is a draft class that has Travis Hunter in it too. So, I think Abdul Carter is the next Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons. The guy is that dominant. He's fantastic. And I know it actually does kind of sort of fill a need for the Jets because with the uncertainty of Jermaine Johnson coming back from the Achilles injury, you have Will McDonald on one side and you kind of have a hole on the other side. And even if Jermaine Johnson comes back strong, it's always nice to have a nice rotation of edge rushers as well. The Jets always like to run a 9 defensive lineman personnel, regardless of what defensive coordinator they have. They always just like to run those guys fresh. So yeah, man, 100% I'm running Abdul Carter up to the podium.
And you can sell that jersey. I don't think nobody's gonna complain about an Abdul Carter. Just put up the highlights and everything. Because I know in New York, when they're very skeptical who's gonna be drafted, and if they don't get the right guy, y'all gonna let everybody know that this ain't the one for you.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine this. I mean, maybe one other scenario I would say is if Abdul Carter is on the board at number 7.
Yeah.
And the Jets field some trade offers, they're probably going to get some really, really good trade offers for that number 7 overall pick.
Yeah.
And with a new regime, you're probably looking to get as many premium picks as possible. But I would have to be absolutely blown away with an offer to move away from 7 of the potential to draft someone like Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I'd be like, you better try to fleece as many picks from that team as possible for this year, next year,
the year after that too.
Yeah, the year after that. Like, you gotta. There's some teams out there that are willing to do that.
So. Unfortunately, I would love that scenario. Unfortunately, I think that scenario is kibosh now with the Myles Garrett news. I think as soon as that news broke, that if Tennessee doesn't take him at number 1, the Browns are going to take him at number 2.
Yeah, that's true. Like that scenario, when I was surprised by it, but I understand as well. I'm like, you don't want to beat the Joe Thomas who had a great career there, and you don't have a chance at a Super Bowl. So that's definitely understandable.
I support him 100%. He's given it all to that city for 8 years, and they should do right by him. Kind of like what the Detroit Lions did for Matthew Stafford. He went into that office, he requested a trade, said, you know what, do right by me. I've done right by you, and they did. And it worked out for both of them, honestly. And you can only hope that it's going to be the same thing with Cleveland and Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and maybe that's good karma for them when they do the trade. Like,
oh, they're going to need a lot of good karma after signing Deshaun Watson to that contract. So,
oh yeah, I forgot about that one. They still got a lot of things to do before they get back in the good graces. So we'll leave it at that. But going into some free agents, we'll do the mock draft. So y'all currently have. I'm trying to make sure I got it right. Y'all have $39.7 million in cap space. What are like some realistic free agents that you think they could look at for this team?
This is, it's an interesting scenario for Darren Mogi and Aaron Glenn, because you're going into a situation with a team that has decent cap space. $40 million is not nothing to turn your nose up at. It's a decent amount of money. Is it a game-changing amount of money? Probably not, because if you're targeting 2 high-profile free agents, there goes your cap space, So I would think that these guys are probably going to be aggressive with maybe 1 prized free agent and then try and get some stop gaps along the way. So personally, maybe a controversial take. If I had to put my money, if I had to put that $39.7 million into 1 prized free agent and then get some stop gaps, it would probably be Carlton Davis. Just because he's familiar with Aaron Glenn, he's familiar with the defensive scheme he's going to try and run. Good man cover. The Detroit Lions over the last 3 years with Aaron Glenn ran more man coverage than any other team in the NFL. And these are corners for the New York Jets that do not run man coverage. So it's going to be a big learning curve for these guys. It's primarily zone for guys like Sauce Gardner, for Brandon Eccles, who was a free agent who they need to bring back as well. Michael Carter II. I don't think DJ Reed will be coming back. That's why I think Carlton Davis is someone that I would like to bring in, a little bit younger than DJ Reed, a little bit of a better corner, in my opinion, than DJ Reed. And Carlton Davis and Sauce Gardner on either side of the field seems like a really nice duo there. But to fill in some other gaps, I'd say maybe a reunion with Foley Fatukasi on a 1-year kind of like stopgap deal. He's someone that's really good against the run. Or maybe bring in a little bit of a longer-term guy like DJ Jones, who's been fantastic for Denver the last couple of years. Maybe that's going to be a $10+ million signing. I can't really think of anyone else that they'd be interested in bringing in. I can't really see any free agents that would also be that interested in coming to New York right now. It's a little bit of a media scrum over here. So I would think maybe just go after 1 or 2 big-name guys, get a couple 1-year guys, maybe like a Jalen Moore or a Patrick Mercari, someone that has been a backup. Jalen Moore speaking, has been the backup to Trent Williams the last couple of years in San Francisco. That's a good guy to learn from. A shorter term contract that he could be your swing tackle, or a Patrick Mercari who has played 4 offensive line positions at the NFL level and has done all of it pretty well. maybe that's someone that you dump $10+ million into. Maybe he's your right tackle of the future. So there's a couple guys that they can go after. I think maybe they go after one or two guys and they just pocket that money for next year, because there are going to be some cap ramifications for Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard. So a lot of these guys that they're either going to cut or they're going to keep, it gets quite expensive next year. So if it was truly up to me, I'd go after some younger, less expensive guys and pocket the rest of that money for next year.
Yeah, that's the best way. And like you said, get some staff guy, 1-year guys just to fill that need. And so you won't have to go for need in the draft. You can actually go into BPA, find that best player available.
Like Abdul Carter.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna complain about Abdul Carter, and then you have 3 really great edge rushers. Like edge rusher is a big need in this league to have, because there's some teams out there that don't have an edge rush. They just got guys, and you just don't want to have just guys. You want to have that guy that's going to be a difference maker. And I think Abdul Carter would be definitely that guy. So we're going to get into PFF mock draft. Let me get this going.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, that's the main reason I like. If I'm gonna have you on here, we gotta do at least one mock draft. And let me see. Let me get it. I'm gonna struggle a little bit. Okay, we got it on here right now. So we're gonna just do 3 rounds and stuff. I respect your time. I appreciate you being on the show. So we're gonna do 3 rounds, and let's get going. So we got. So we could do like a quick recap to see who got drafted. So the 2 Colorado guys are getting drafted.
Wow.
Cam Ward's going to the Giants. Abdul Carter went to the Patriots. I know you're not a fan of that one. So
yeah, I wouldn't. I'll be honest with you, especially with the right tackle concerns that we have. I don't know if I'm so keen on going up against Abdul Carter 2 times a year. Yeah. Wow, I'll be honest with you, this is worst case scenario for the New York Jets right here, because every single person that I would draft at number 7 is already off the board. So the way that I would have it is Abdul Carter is my dream, but I don't consider him there because I don't think he'll be there. Ted McMillan probably makes the most sense here, but Mason Graham, Will Johnson, already off the board, are really my 2 guys that I would go after first.
Yeah.
If I was the Jets, I do like Malachi Starks. I don't like him at 7, to be quite honest with you. This would be a trade down scenario for me, to be quite honest with you. Let's see what team is actually.
We got the Saints. So majority of the. So we got the Cardinals.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'll stick and pick here, because
okay.
I think I'll stick and pick. Let's go down a little bit. Some of the players that are available here, just to be controversial. Mike Green would really. I'm a big Mike Green guy. I don't know if you know that, but I'm all about Mike Green. But I think just to go for pure need, and also Aaron Glenn loves to play with not only 1, not 2, but 3 really good safeties. I'm going to go outside the box here. I'm going to take Malachi Starks at 7.
That's a good one. Yeah, I actually got to see, especially looking at the Senior Bowl of Mike Green, just how explosive he is. I'm like, man, he's going to be nice. Especially
Mike Green, I said it to a couple buddies that I have that were at the Senior Bowl. I said if Abdul Carter didn't exist in this draft, Mike Green would be far and away the best edge rusher in the entire class. You saw what he did to Josh Connerly? That was just Josh Connerly, someone that's considered a 1st-round pick, and he made him look like a 7th round or an undrafted free agent. That was crazy. But okay. All right.
You're in a good scenario right now.
I am. There are some very good players on the board here. Wow, Jack Besh really got quite the bump. I know that the Jets don't need a guard, but if the Jets needed a guard, Tyler Booker would be fantastic here. Let me see. Can we go to tight ends for a second here? I'd like to see what we got going on with the tight ends. Gunnar Helm. Yeah. Oh boy. Wow.
A really good safety blanket, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's a Harold fan. And let me just see, before I make my choice, let's see what defensive tackles are on the board before I get too crazy here. Let's see. Norman Lott, I'm not a fan of. I like Derek Harmon a lot. It looks like Deone Walker is off the board.
Yeah.
Oh no, Delaney Walker's on the board.
They got him pretty low.
Yeah. Wow, this is tough because they're literally neck and neck with each other. You know what, man? We went defensive player in the first round. I know this doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but I'm gonna have to take Harold Fannin Jr. here, man. The tight end group is just not good. You have Jeremy Ruckert under contract, and that's it. Kenny Yeboah is a free agent. Tyler Conklin's a free agent. Harold Fannin's going to be the pick for me for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely an upgrade over Conklin.
I can't believe they have him as low as they have him.
Yeah,
to be quite honest with you,
I don't know if it's the college thing, but some of theirs is kind of a little iffy. They're accurate on some of them, but that one's too low for me too.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Oh well, that answers that. We already know who I'm going with here.
Delaney Walker.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. If Delaney Walker's here at 92, that's going to have to be the pick. I mean,
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people do mock drafts, and Delaney Walker has been on the third round. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that would be a godsend if he's there because there's not a lot of guys that can move around at 342 pounds like Delaney Walker can. So, yeah, it's crazy to me that they think Harold Fannin is an F in that situation. I guess they don't take into account that the Jets have literally 0 tight ends under contract past this year, and Fannin is. I don't take it to heart. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think nobody should take it to heart when it comes to PFF. When it comes to situations like that, like I don't know what's their deal with like certain picks like that. They're like, oh, that's an F. I'm like, if you watch the film on some of these guys, a lot of these guys are going to be really something in the NFL. Listen, it might not be this year or next year.
I'd be pretty happy with the scenario here. Maybe not so much with Malachi Starks at number 7, only because if they were to trade down maybe 5 or 6 spots with someone that wanted to move up and Starks was still there, I'd like that. I also like Sebastian Castro in round 2 or 3, to be quite honest with you. He's another player that I think this is a very good safety class this year. So, you know, some people might say, which I never understood, some people might say taking the best player out of a good positional group doesn't make sense. I never understood that. I never understood if the positional group is that good, why wouldn't I take the best player out of the bunch? You know, it doesn't make any sense, but I'd be pretty happy with this, to be honest with you, especially with Harold Fannin Jr. I mean, the Jets could draft a kicker in the first round and take Harold Fannin Jr. in round 2, and I'd be pretty happy. So,
so everything will be forgiven if they drafted a kicker.
I don't want to get ahead of myself because you never know. They actually should draft a kicker, to be honest with you, because their kicking has been atrocious, but you know, maybe not in the first round or the second. Like they did in my lifetime, they did draft Mike Nugent in the second round, and I believe it was 2003 or 2004. So I do not want a scenario like that again.
Hey, the Raiders did even worse. In the late 90s and got Sebastian Janikowski, still a really good kicker, but
I think that year that you're talking about, I think they drafted Janikowski in the first, and they drafted Shane Leckler in like round 3. So they drafted 2 special teamers in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Yeah, hey, but look, I mean, they both of those guys were great for a long time, so I guess it worked out for them.
Yeah, they were franchise players on the Raiders for a long time. So I guess it kind of worked out, but I know reactions if you're watching from home, you see a kickers in the first round, and then you go, "Oh, we're gonna get you a punter too."
I don't think I would ever watch if the Jets betrayed me like that and they drafted if they traded back in the first round, and I saw, let's say Ryan Fitzgerald is probably the best kicker in this year's draft class, and I see Ryan Fitzgerald's name come across the board. I mean, I wouldn't even know what to do. I'd probably turn the TV off. I'd probably throw the TV through my window, and then I'd probably burn all of my Jets gear after that. So,
yeah, I'd feel the same way, and I'm not a meltdown guy to be, especially not a film. That might be the night I'd probably have the biggest meltdown if we drafted a kicker. And that's the main thing to be on ESPN for the next 3 years. That the Cowboys drafted Ryan Fitzgerald, and
jeez,
that I'm making it sound like it's actually going to happen, but
listen, you never know, and that's the scary part. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I hope the kicker. I'm like, we got Aubrey. I don't think we need to get a kicker. So please don't do that. I don't care how he woos you in interviews. Just like, oh, that's nice, and just move on. Just move on. So, do you want to do another mock draft? Or I know.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Let me see. Let me get on. We're gonna switch it up because I know PFF wanted to let you do it one time.
Yeah, why not? I'm all about it.
Let me get on PF. We'll do PFN then. Let me get on that. I kind of like theirs.
I did like PFN a lot better. One of my buddies that used to work for PFN, Ian Cummings, doesn't work for them anymore, or I shouldn't say he doesn't work for them. He works for them in a different capacity now, so he doesn't really take care of the player evaluations and all that kind of stuff. He was one of the very best. I mean, if there was someone, and such a nice man too, like would give you the shirt off his back, just always made time for everyone else. Just a really, really nice guy. And I'm kind of sad that he's not in the draft community anymore, but I believe he's doing something a little bit bigger for PFN now. I don't know what that would be. He wasn't really descriptive about it, but just really one of the nicer guys in the space. And I will say their draft board has kind of gone downhill since he took that advanced role, but it's a great draft experience. Like the website itself, they still have some pretty good rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually had him on the show a couple of times. Yeah, he's definitely a great guy. Definitely like to get his info about the draft and everything.
Yeah, he's someone that, like, when he talks, you have to listen 100% because he throws lingo out at you that you're like, what? Like, he was telling me last year we were talking, he was like, oh yeah, the ankle flexion of this player. And I'm like, what the hell is ankle flexion? I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm like, that's crazy. You're throwing things out at me that I have no idea what you're talking about. He's too smart for this space. He needs to do something. He needs to be like a rocket scientist or something. He's way too smart for this space.
Yeah. When you think you know everything and then you get on the show, you're like, dang, I don't even know.
100%.
I need to look at ankle flexion now. I'm like, I need to go back to my kinesiology days. Let me look at his ankle flexion to make sure so I won't feel dumb anymore. But do you want to do how many rounds do you want to do?
We could do 7. I think the Jets only have 7 or 8 picks. So
that's right.
Yeah. We'll do a little bonus here, a little bonus action for the tacos and touchdowns. Ooh,
I appreciate it.
It's not bad. Oh no, Mason Graham's there. I'm taking Mason Graham.
No hesitation. No,
no, definitely not. Why is Ashton Jeanty being the 6th overall pick?
I don't know. Like, I've seen it where he was the 1st overall pick of.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like it's gotten a little wonky with PFN a little bit, but still a good site. Oh, your guy's still there in the 2nd round.
God, do I go back to the mill? There's a lot. Oh, Shamar Stewart is there too. Wow, this is certainly something to see here. Let's see. We took care of one defensive line position. Let me try and play this smart for the viewers. Trying to think right now what I should do. I mean, Harold Fannin is really a huge need, but let's take a look at the corner situation first before we take Harold Fannin, because we're probably going to do that anyway. But I do like Darian Porter quite a bit. Azariah Thomas as well. Dalen Everett went back to school, so they need to update this.
Yeah. What do you think of Maxwell Harrison? I like something. He's like a sticky corner.
Feisty corner. I love feisty, handsy corners. I mean, listen, you can get penalized quite a bit, but I love the fight. Hand fighting down the field, give it to me all the time. Denzel Burke is here too. Nah, man, I can't do it. I gotta get Harold Fannin again. I mean, it's 2 times in a row. I mean, he's there. I can't, without trading up, he's there. I gotta take him.
Hey, maybe the future Jet.
Oh man, I'm trying to speak it into existence. Honestly, I'm really trying to make sure that someone in the Jets brass hears me and gets Harold Fannin. But let's see what we got here. 92 David Wall. Oh, that was a well, I don't know if Kyron Lacey is going to be drafted, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, they definitely update that.
Yeah, David Walker is a fantastic pick. He was fantastic at the Senior Bowl this past week as well. Yeah, Azariah Thomas is there. Let's take a look at. All right, so that's corner. Let's take a look at what quarterbacks are on the board. Let's see what I could. Like Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel. All right, so I got a little bit of time. I do like Will Howard, to be quite honest with you. I wasn't too high on him. until the college football playoffs, and I saw him make some really, really nice tight window throws with some good zip that we haven't seen from it before. And I was like, you know what? At 6'5", 242 pounds, I'd be willing to take a 4th round punt on him, you know, someone that you could try and develop, but the Jets can't develop anyone, so it doesn't even matter. Let's go to a tackle.
Tackle. Okay.
I'm just trying to cover all my bases here before I make this pick. Gray's Able is Chase Lunt is there too. You know what? I'm gonna circle back around for tackle. I'm gonna take Azariah Thomas with this pick.
I was feeling like you were gonna go that way. I'm like, he's a really good boundary corner.
Yeah, and that's what we need right now, especially with the uncertainty with free agency. So Azariah Thomas is. I don't think, to be quite honest with you, I don't think Azariah Thomas will be there at 92, but we'll certainly take it in this mock draft. Yeah, I'm gonna go to tackle here. I know exactly who I'm going for. It's not going to be Gray's Able. It's going to be oh, is he not there anymore? Was Chase Lunt drafted?
Yeah, let me see what round he got.
Wow, he was. That was who I was going to take. He's drafted at 99. That's my second best natural right tackle in the draft, in my opinion, is Chase Lunt. I was for sure. I thought he was going to make it. So I'll take Gray's Able. That's not a bad compensation prize there. Gray's Able, fantastic. Played all 5 positions at the Senior Bowl and dominated at every single position. He was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So can I just take a look at my picks for a second?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mason Graham, Harold Fan, and Azariah. So that's a nice class. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to take a look here. I feel like I have a luxury pick because we got 2 picks inside the next 11. Let me see what edge rushers are on the board here.
Antoine Powell Ryland.
Do you like Tyler Beatty quite a bit?
Yeah. I don't know why they're so low on him sometimes.
I think I might circle back around. Let's take a look at safety for this one. I just realized that I have not addressed safety, and that's not great. Hunter Waller, great player. I am not drafting Shiloh Sanders. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, the Shrine Bowl did not show a good side of Shiloh.
I will say one thing in his defense: Shiloh is a box safety that supports against the run. So putting him up there in those one-on-one situations really wasn't fair. But if you're a safety and you want to play in the NFL, you have to at least know how to cover a little bit. And I feel like he just didn't really perform that great. I feel like I might have missed my opportunity on a safety here. I do like Hunter Waller. Let's go back to corner for a second. There's someone that I have in mind that might not still be here, but let's go down a little bit. He might be further down. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Number 254. I'm going to take Upton Stout here. People might look at him. He did play on the boundary. Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. He played on the boundary at the Senior Bowl and did quite well. But at 5'8", he weighed in, I believe, at 169 pounds. At 5'8", 169 pounds, you're not playing boundary corner at the next level. He's going to be a safety at the next level. So, and I love his coverage ability. He actually plays, he's 5'8". He plays like he's 6'8". He's a fantastic player. I'm going to take Upton Stout here.
Yeah, I've been hearing great things about it. I need to check him out for sure.
Great name, too. That's a great name for a football player, Upton Stout. So, yes, I will take him to play safety for me. I did say I liked Tyler Beatty. I want to see what wide receivers are on the board right now, actually. Oh, well, there's no scenario. Well, there's a couple guys here that I really like. I don't think, just for the sake of being real, I don't think there's any scenario where the Jets are on the board at 157 and Jalen Noel is there. Yeah. I don't see that happening. I'm going to take Pat Bryant here, though.
Yeah, I got like. He's physical.
Yeah, Pat Bryant is very good. Illinois is just littered with players that are really, really good and capable of playing in the NFL. And I feel like they don't get nearly enough credit for the pro factory they have become, especially in the secondary over the last couple of years. I mean, look, you got Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, Devin Witherspoon, Kirby Joseph. You know, I'm sure I'm missing a couple guys. Even Jerzon Newton is another guy too on the defensive line. They have produced some talent. Maybe not on the offensive side so much. Isaiah Adams was a 4th round pick last year, or a 3rd round pick, I believe. but they produce talent. That's for sure. Let's see. We got 2 more picks here. Yeah, let's take a look at edge.
I feel like Beatty's still there.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the pick. You're definitely right about that. Yes, I will take Tyler Beatty here. And then at 210, I'll just be honest with you, I'm probably looking for a kicker at 210. Probably. Let's see. I don't actually see anyone that I'm interested in, believe it or not.
Got some interesting names on here.
Yeah, Tyler Loop is a crazy name. That's a crazy name. All right, so we're gonna not go for that. Let's see. I guess we could see what kind of quarterbacks are on the board. I have not taken a quarterback here.
I don't know why.
Tyler Shogue is pretty good. Max Brosmer as well. Nah, I'm not too excited about those guys. We're gonna go back to the defensive side here. We're gonna look at defensive tackle again. Josh Farmer still be. Josh Farmer is a top 50 player for. What's his name? The guy on ESPN. Not Todd McShay. The other guy. Daniel Jeremiah. He's a top 50 player for Daniel Jeremiah. Thor Griffith is a good player as well. You know who I like, and I think could be a player here for a little bit more realism. I'm going to take CJ West from Indiana. He lit up the East-West Shrine game.
He did.
He was a world beater. He was unbelievable. So maybe a lot of names that a lot of people don't know that are going to view this, but a lot of these guys are going to wind up being pretty good players at the NFL level.
Yeah, I'm going to download this, so I'm going to make a post about this. So, yeah, I want to get your opinion on what do you think about this draft?
The class itself.
No, I'm just talking about this your draft you just did right now. What if this is like a realistic scenario and you got these guys on here?
The only thing that I think I would change out of this for the players that were on the board was I would swap Gray Zabel and Chase Lund. I think that's probably the only pick that I would like to change. I mean, Mason Graham at 7 is a smash hit. You know how I feel about Harold Fannin. Getting someone like Azariah Thomas, 6'2", 198 pounds on the boundary is great. Zabel, even if they got someone like Zabel, very versatile, can play everywhere. Upton Stout is tiny, but he could play everywhere. Pat Bryant is going to be an X or a Z wide receiver at the next level. Beatty has a lot of upside, and so does West. Honestly, if this was the draft class, listen, not saying because I drafted it, but I would give this an A for Darren Mogi if this was his first draft class as the Jets GM.
Yeah, he'd definitely be in good graces with this draft. And I'm thinking about Upton Stout, thinking about his head coach is another smaller guy. I think Aaron Glenn was about 5'9", about 5'10" type of corner.
Those had to coach small guys.
Yeah, like that. That'd be that's the perfect scenario for Upton Stout is being with Aaron Glenn, a guy that's similar size.
If anyone, I just want to put it out there. If anyone has never heard of Upton Stout, Tyler Beatty, or CJ West out of this group that's watching this right now, do yourself a favor. Get a bag of popcorn, sit in front of your TV or your laptop or even your phone and just watch either their season highlights or watch the East-West Shrine highlights of Beatty and CJ West and then the Senior Bowl of Upton Stout. Those guys really turned a lot of heads, especially Stout. Like we said, 5'8", 169 pounds. Those guys have an uphill battle making an NFL roster, and he went up against guys on the boundary that were much bigger than him, and he played great. So that's a really good. He reminds me of this year's Andrew Phillips. That's what I think Upton Stout is going to be this year.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of small school guys, and especially if they show out. I definitely got to check out Upton Stout. Probably do it after this podcast because if I say I'm gonna do it later, I'm gonna be like, oh, I was supposed to watch Upton.
I'm the same way, dude. If I say I'm gonna do it later, 3 days from now, I'm gonna be like, oh, I never did that.
Yeah, and that name will keep popping here. I'm like, why I keep hearing Upton? I'm like, am I thinking of something else? But Stout. I don't want to be the last minute. Like, I'm definitely gonna watch that. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna watch Upton Stout at the end of the show. But
I'll tell you what, I'll do this just so you. I'm going to find. There's a great YouTube channel that posts all the one-on-ones for the Senior Bowl. Yeah. I think it's called it's a funny name. It's like Couch Potato GM or something like that. They post all the one-on-ones. I'm going to find Upton Stout's reps, and I'm going to send it to you. So just so I know that you could see it.
Hey, I appreciate it. That means a lot. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man, of course.
Yes, sir. And thank you again for being on the show. Before I let you go, bro, where can they check out your podcast and also you actually do a show? Let me make sure I get it right. The Gotham Sports Report.
Yes, sir. The Gotham Sports Report everywhere we are not on YouTube, actually. We are just on all streaming platforms, all audio platforms. So, your Spotify, your Apple Podcasts, any other listening or podcast app that you use, we are on that. If you are a New York sports fan, it's some pretty good conversation, I will say. Me and my buddy Dan, we do a pretty good job of covering not only the Jets, we do the Yankees, we do the Met. Every New York sports team you could think of, we talk about on a weekly basis for the most part. And then it is still the Mock Draft guy on YouTube, but I have transitioned myself into the New York Jets guy. I do only talk about New York Jets content now. It's a little niche project that I've been doing, and I certainly enjoy it. So I appreciate you shouting me out for that kind of stuff, man. Thank you. And thank you for having me on, man. I really want to come on more often. We always have a good time when we're on here together.
Yes, sir. We definitely got to definitely when it comes to draft time, definitely got to get you back on to get your knowledge about the draft as well.
Time and place, and I'll be there, dude.
Yes, sir. I got you. Hey, and lastly, who do you got winning the Super Bowl this week?
Since I said it, I mentioned to you before, we recorded a podcast episode. We did a Super Bowl preview earlier today, actually. And that episode is out right now. But for your listeners right now, I went with a little bit of a bold choice for my my Super Bowl. I said it's going to be the highest scoring Super Bowl in NFL history. I said we're going to see a 43-37 win by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I can't even say mine right now because we haven't even did the Super Bowl. I was about to say my prediction, but I kind of hope a game is a high scoring game. Not like that Rams and Patriot game a few years ago.
Please, no.
That's the first time I almost fell asleep on a Super Bowl game, and it was terrible to watch.
I think it was like 3-3 with like 7 minutes left in the entire game or something like that. It was, that wasn't a good one. But yeah, I went with like I said, I went with a little bit of a bold choice there. But I just think that both defenses aren't playing that great at the perfect time.
Yeah,
and I think that both teams are just going to come out guns a-blazing, and that's not an overtime, by the way. I think the 43-37 is going to be regulation. I didn't know overtime.
That's the best part is just if it can be like that type of game, just keep us entertained and everything. Like
that's it, man. That's all we're looking for. Because one side of America and the other side of America both don't want either team to win. I'm completely neutral. I just want a good game. I don't really care who wins because I'm not really a big fan of either team, but I just want to see a good football game. That's it.
Yeah, you just want to see them beat the crap out of each other and
that's it. Yeah,
load up the score. That's all. That's the honest thing is like when your team's not in it, you just like, oh, y'all two just battle.
Aaron, my team is never in it, so I'm always just I'm always just sitting here on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm here with you. I'm a Cowboy fan, so it's been since I was a little kid since my team's been there. We'll leave it at that about our teams.
My dad was 12 years old when the Jets won the Super Bowl. That's how long ago it's been.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet then about my woes.
Oh man,
I forgot about it. Appreciate you again, bro, for being on the show again.
Yeah, man. Of course, anytime. Seriously.
Yes, sir. This has been Tacos and Touchdown Live. We'll be back Thursday to do our Super Bowl trivia show, the 3rd annual show. So definitely tune in for that show because this is going to be a really great one.
I'll be tuning in for that. That sounds like a good time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Peace.